All right, so we're moving on to the front now. We'll get the front lights working, the blinkers working, etc., etc. If you looked at the last video, we did get the rear lights all sorted out. So that's working. There's maybe some cleanup still left to do. But yeah, let's dig into the front here. Let's pull things apart. Let's check for voltages and see if we can get this these front lights working. Okay, found the major problem there with the headlights. The high load beam basically switch had broken apart, so I got a replacement for that, and got the blinkers working, the lights are working. Okay, and it is good. Now all I have to do is mount that low beam, high beam on the floor of the Jeep, because my new carpet and everything covered up those mounting holes. So I'm going to do that. And then I think I've got to work on the latch release, the inside latch release for the driver's door. And we'll do that next. Okay, we're making progress. I found out that the problem with my door, and I never even considered that, but I had a right-hand side assembly in the left hand. So basically, in the left-hand side. So basically, it was working opposite that it should have. I didn't even know that there was right and lefts, but it makes perfect sense. How did that happen? I don't know. But it had to be me, because I was the only one working on it. So apparently I had a right-hand unit on the left-hand side. So fortunately, with me hoarding stuff, I had a left-hand side one. The only thing that was different was the latch mechanism, because I think it was 75, 76 was the last year that they used these latch systems, and then they went to the those ones over there after the fact. So I had what I needed. I was able to put it in there, and so that's now working. So I'll reassemble that mess, and basically, like I said, the lights are working. That door assembly is now working. Put the seat back in. I vacuumed the carpet. So let's keep busy, get this thing to where I can drive it on the road. Okay, I'm going to have to break away from the Cherokee project just for a moment. I've got some plates that were cut by my metal company for the front shackle, or the front spring shackle reversals. And basically I've got to get the mill scale off of these and bend them and shape them, put them together. That's one reason why I want to get a plasma table, is because it's fairly expensive to have these guys cut this stuff out for me. And if I can do it on my own plasma table, it'll pay for itself in about 2 to 3 years. So that's what I'm looking at. And I'm also going to do an upgrade, because I've had customers in the past, depending on how much arch is in their springs, that they need to move the mounting pin for the front spring. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a pilot hole on the new brackets. Probably be about a 1/4 inch, 5/16 pilot hole. That way, if you find out after you get these brackets installed that you need to move your spring forward, or backward, I should say, backward, that you can easily do it, because the pilot hole's already cut for you, and then all you have to do is run a drill bit through it and adjust it yourself. All right, so let me get to work on these FSSRs, and when I get that done, I'll go back to the Cherokee. But one thing that has happened, when I went looking for parts for the door latch mechanism and stuff, I found my much needed arm rests. They're not in perfect shape. This one's kind of buggered up. This one's completely buggered up. But what I can do is I can put another base on these without any trouble. And I'll show you guys how to do that too, how to refurbish an armrest. I already got it on a video once already, but we'll go through it again. All right, talk to you later. All right, so I got these FSSRs done. I did basically built 5 sets, and this is what they look like once they're finished. And like I mentioned before, these go on they replace the original front spring and shackle bracket, and they adjust. They come down about 2.5 inches, and they re-correct the caster so that when you put the front shackle reversal in, your caster should be originally where it was at. And like I said also, that I added a pilot hole because there are circumstances where if somebody has a lot of spring arch, you know, in the 4 to 6 inch lift range, that the axle will need to be moved rearward in order to clear the steering and to give you a good shackle position at the rear. So this pilot hole is now there so that if you run into that circumstance, all you got to do is drill that, open that hole up to 9/16, and you'll be able to put the spring bolt back in there. But yeah, so we got that done. These are on the shelf ready for purchase. And we're going to go back to the Cherokee, and this is one of the armrest mounts that I cleaned up already. It was broken up like this one. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use some of that 1/4 inch board, PVC board, and we're going to replace this piece here with that board. And then we'll epoxy it all back together, and it'll be as good as new. So I'll show you that process, basically on how to restore and clean up your armrest, and I'll get started on that right away. All right, so in order to make the base plate out of the 1/4 inch PVC, I need to make a template. And so I've got half of what I need, but fortunately it is symmetrical. So what I'll do is I'll cut this side, flip the cardboard over, match it back to the original, and then cut the other side. And that way I'll have an accurate symmetrical template to apply to the quarter board. All right, so I can't do the cutting and film at the same time, so I'm going to set the camera, hopefully, to where you guys can kind of see it. All right, so I gotta mark the center. So I'm going to use these holes as the center of my piece, and that way I can transfer the center once I flip the cardboard and get an accurate cut. Okay, so I did that. I marked the center and the outer edge, both front and back, and that's pretty much where I got to trim to get the other side symmetrical. All right, so this is my template, and this should be really close. I might need to sand it and clean it up a little bit to get it right, but we've got this piece will basically be epoxied in like that, and then we'll be set. And I'll go ahead and get that done, and show you when we go back to the reassembly of putting it in there, because the armrest itself is held into this piece with a couple of push nuts, and I believe I still have those because I bought some in the past. So let me get started. Alright, so now I'm at the point of epoxying that on. I use the JB Weld Clear Weld. Says it takes 5 minutes. It lies. But I've got that piece epoxying onto the base. I've got it clamped, and hopefully in the next 15-20 minutes I'll be able to keep working with it. But I'm going to make the opposite one so that I can basically fill in this gap here on the top, and that way it'll hold that rubber in place so that it doesn't pull apart. Either that, or if that's going to be too much trouble, maybe I'll epoxy the rubber onto the plastic. So let's tackle that next. Alright, so we went through some trial and error here. Okay, I was going to make this piece to trap this rubber edge here, and what I found, it's a cool idea, and it would work if I use some thin metal plate, but with this it's a 1/4 inch thick, and what it does is it raises everything to where I can't put the push nuts on to hold it in place. Now I could epoxy all this together, and that would work also, and when the screws are run in to hold the armrest in place, that would hold it all together. But I don't think that it's worth the effort. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some epoxy and basically glue that edge to the plastic, and that should hold up. That's not a high traffic area. I mean, how often are people going to be sitting in the back seat of my Cherokee? I don't know, but I don't think it's that big a deal. So I'm going to go ahead and try just to super glue that edge down, and then we'll call it done. Alright, something else that we're looking at is I want to clean these up. These were kind of spray painted black, God knows when. They should be silver. I might color match them to the green later, but not right now. But I've got one problem with the mounting position here. If you can see that, that's broken out. So now the screw that holds that in place just pulls through. This is what it's supposed to look like. So the way we can fix that is we'll use a Dremel tool to clean up this edge and make it rough. Then we'll put a piece of tape behind it, and then add some JB Weld on this side, and that'll build that surface up, and then we'll just drill a mounting hole in there and then countersink it a little bit to make it match the others. So let me get busy on that, and after that we'll sand these, get that paint smooth, and then paint it silver, or a can of chrome is what I like to call it. Alright, so this is where we're at after letting everything dry. As you can see here, the armrest looks pretty good. I like it. So I'm going to put that on once I get the clip to mount it. But that actually came out pretty decent. I like it. And the other thing are these headlight bezels. Got them. They came out pretty nice too. I like them. I like them a lot. And if you look at the where the blown out mounts were, that's all been epoxied and finished up. Now that little bit of irregularity in there, most of that will be covered up with the fastener itself. I mean, I could put some Bondo and some scratch remover in there and clean that up a little bit. I might do that in the future. Probably never. But that's all back together. There was a couple other ones that were cracking. They were getting ready to pull out. And I used some JB weld on those. That'll be nice and clean. But that looks pretty good. The one irregularity that I got is right here. And that's where the foil is starting to pull from the plastic. And so I'm not going to fuss with that, because if I do, then I'll have to fill it in and sand it again. And if it becomes an issue in the future, then yeah, I'll take and resolve it then. So get busy. I'll go ahead and put this together and you can watch. Music, please! Take a quick look. Got those pieces installed now. Let's see if I can get it in there without too much reflection. But yeah, you can see the chrome paint and everything's in there. Screws are holding. All right. So that's where we're at. Got this those headlight bezels done. Looking at this armrest, we've got it. You can see the push nuts there. That's just water leaking out from when cleaning everything. Push nuts are in. This baby's ready to be installed behind the driver. The only thing that I'm waiting on is one of the U-clip nuts or retainers, inserts that I can screw into once I put it in the pocket. But that's basically it. We're done for this episode, and we're going to move on to some of the smaller details, get the Cherokee ready to drive. I know I got to put a headboard in there, headliner, and BJ's is the only one that's got a new one that's decent. I could try my chances at finding one in a junkyard, etc., but they're pretty trashed. So let me weigh those options there, clean up the wiring underneath the dash, and then we can start looking at putting the air conditioning in. All right, Rock Lawrence Vintage Auto Parts out.